Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Natalie the Marketer, and today I'm going a little off script. I'm going to be talking about me moving from my hometown to Houston, Texas. If you're someone who's considering moving out of your hometown, specifically to Houston, Texas, here are some things that I wish I knew before, some things you should be aware of. What it's been like for almost the last 5 years living here, and do I see myself here long term? Why or why not? If this interests you, be sure to watch to the end of the video where I drop some key gems and some key pointers that you just want to make sure you check out before you move. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so I'm not going to waste a lot of your time. I'm going to just jump right into it. So I moved here to Houston, Texas about 5 years ago, and I moved post-pandemic. So kind of like we weren't completely open, but the world was opening back up. Now, what prompted me to move here? Honestly, I just came to visit with my best friend one weekend. It was never anything that I paid attention to, but I came and visited with my friend one weekend, and I don't know, it wasn't like me, because she's not like the club type. It wasn't like we were like out, but it just seemed like there was so much more to do here. Not saying where I'm from isn't, like I'm not from a small town, I'm from Florida, West Palm Beach, Florida. So there's the beach, there's things to do. But this was different when I came because there was such a strong African American community of Black people, and there is so much more of a melting pot. Like where I'm from, there is a multitude of people, but like going out here, any function, any event, there will be Asians, there will be Black, there will be white, there's just a plethora of different people that are doing similar things. Where I'm from, it's kind of like Caucasians do Caucasian things, and Asians, I don't know if I've ever partied with an Indian or Asian. Not saying these things don't happen, it just wasn't as common as it is here. And then I didn't realize how much I love nature. Florida does have a beach, and I love the beach, but that's where I was growing up. So coming here, I really love the nature. So following that, I started seeing the prices of the cost of living here, and I thought, hey, my business was doing good. I needed a fresh start. I needed to just try something different. So that tug became, I came visit one more time and did apartment hunting, and that tug just went through. And not to spoil it, but we'll go into it what it was like. So moving here, the first thing I did, well, let's rewind. Why did I move? So the biggest thing was to have a new start. I was home, and I felt really stuck. I felt really boxed in. I felt really just depressed being there. I realized that my friend group and my family wasn't probably the best environment to be in, to grow. It felt like I was fighting everything, and I was still isolated very much because it just wasn't a very conducive or healthy environment for me. So I know I needed change. And then this is like a rise of TikTok. So, I'm watching TikToks. I feel like whatever you make TikTok is going to start feeding you it. So I'm watching the rise, and then I had a friend move, and that kind of prompted me to, or gave me like, if they could do it. I was talking about it, but they did it, and they didn't tell me, whatever. But if they could do it, I can do it. So eventually I did do it. So that was my reason for moving. It was really just a change. Maybe you just say it's God that called me. I do believe it's God that called me. I don't know if it's per se here, but I think He called me out of my hometown because, not to go biblical, but if you read the Bible, it's like even for Jesus to start His ministry, most of the time for you to grow and evolve, God is going to move you out of your comfort zone. And a lot of the time, there's a good isolation period that you got to go through and go through things by yourself. So I would say that was like God calling me, you could say. Some things to think of before you move is, I have to look at the camera. Some things to think of before you move is basically the area you want to live in. I would say that would be the first thing. Definitely visit. I hear oftentimes that people say, I leased it online and I didn't even get to see the property yet. And there are beautiful properties everywhere in Houston, but Houston is very, very big. Like Houston is 50 minutes from Houston. So you really want to come visit and kind of figure out what area you want to live in, Pearland, Katy, Humble, League City, Memorial City. You gotta kind of figure out what's your vibe, what's your speed. For me, I don't like driving, so I decided to stay previously a little outside of downtown, and then in the last couple of years, I've been living downtown, and I very much enjoy it because the commute is everything. I don't need a car. I would recommend to have a car, but I would lighten it for a little. So if you don't need a car, downtown is a great area. There is a lot of homeless people. There is a lot of nightlife, so if you're not a good nightlife person, you probably don't want to live downtown. But if you are someone like me who values convenience and having stuff to do around you, like the park is really walking distance, and there's coffee shops, and there's nightlife, and there's things to do in the daytime. So I very much enjoy living here, but it's a little bit busier, fast paced. Now, if you want to go somewhere that's more family oriented, you might want to do like Katy and Richmond. However, those are like out of the function, you know. And then if you really want super affordable, you might want to be in Humble area. But then again, you're like 45, 50 minutes from downtown. And so if you're younger, you might want to be closer, unless you don't mind driving. But the traffic here, I don't know what Atlanta traffic is like, but the traffic here drives me crazy. To go to the nearest store is about 3 to 4 miles, and it takes about 30 minutes on a regular basis. So I would recommend just doing that research. The second thing is where you're going to work. Listen to me. A lot of girls, a lot of young ladies come, and you are beautiful. Everyone's just, they're beautiful women, and I'm sure you're beautiful too. But you are not going to get by on your beauty. It is going to help you, but it's not going to get you as much as you probably would get in your hometown, if that makes sense, if you're from somewhere small. So you have to know, like, beauty is very common. There's a lot of beautiful women here. And I say that because a lot of young girls move here, and the first thing they're thinking is, I'm going to do bottle service. I'm going to be a waitress. The nightlife is not all that it's made out to be, and I'll make another video of that. But, and I'm not saying that you can't do it. You definitely can do it. If you can get yourself into a spot that's popping, or even a slower one, you're going to make some money. I just wouldn't put all my eggs in the basket. I would look for a job that can sustain you, even if you're a business owner, because that's something I didn't do. I did look for jobs, but I wasn't like serious about them. I just kept running my business. But I would recommend getting a job. Now, it doesn't have to be anything serious. It's just something, for one, that can get you out of the house and connecting with people, because you'll be isolated very quick. For two, to give you breathing room, whether it's a business you want to start or you already have, or maybe you just don't know what you want to do yet, or you're in school, whatever the case, just get a part-time job. You could do HEB, the grocery store. You could do inside the mall. Like, just get something small. Nothing serious. I'm not saying make career choices, but definitely start applying. When you are applying, make sure you're with a Houston address if you know someone, or if you can use, if you have your business registered before, something like that. Find your hope, but definitely use a Houston address. The third thing, I'm from Florida, and so we don't have one electric company. There is 3 electric companies. If this is your first apartment, so then you're going to be getting, you're going to need to research your electric company. You're going to need to research buying insurance for your apartment. You're going to need to research to understand like how to pay your bills and all this stuff. I'm very much, I've been on my own since I was 17. However, if this is new to you, you really gonna have to ask your leasing agent or whoever you're working with to get the apartment to kind of walk you through what it is that you need. And again, I'm not going to make this video about getting your first apartment, but just be on the lookout for things of such, and if you are looking for an apartment, try a free apartment locator who can also tell you about the area and the quality of life you want to maintain, and also like find you the best deals. Then they're completely free. So we talked about the apartment, we talked about the location, we talked about getting a job. So we pretty much kind of covered the basis of things you should like physically obtain or be aware of before you move. Now let's talk about mentally. like I said before, you are gonna. My first 6 months here was actually the best 6 months because no one knows you. You can meet whoever you want. You can do whatever you want. And that's a good or bad thing. If you got some discipline, then it's a good thing. If you don't, that's a terrible thing. So my first couple months, I would go out to lounges and bars by myself. And it took me no time to make friends. If you know me, I'm very mobile, very personable. And that doesn't mean like I'll be people's face, but I can click with people really quick. So of course I went to this lounge and this girl I sat with her herself and that friend, she is a party girl, so she had me going out like constantly. But I remember maybe like a month in, I was like, I'm so certain that God didn't bring me here to party every day. So I did have fun, but at that point I started to be like, girl, I can't. And, I started really cutting back, but I still was going out. I just wasn't going out like 6 days a week because she said, if you want something to do, there's going to be something to do. And if you have a friend that loves going out, they're going to get you to go out. So definitely mentally be clear about what you're coming to do. If you want to just let go for a few months and not work out anything and live out your youth, like you just want to be partying or whatever, I was going to do it with no shame, but have some limit, like have some boundaries for yourself. Like, hey, for the next 2 months, I'm going to have fun. That's what I'm focusing on. I'm going to work this little job, have fun. But January or whatever month it is, 2 months from now, on that day, I'm going to get serious. We're not going to be going out like that no more. We're not going to be doing that. I would say do it with, like, being honest with yourself is probably the best thing. Coming and saying, like, oh, I'm going to start this new life, I'm going to get 6 figures, and then before you know it, you're really not doing that after 6 months have gone by. So, yeah, like I was saying, just be sure you're honest with yourself about where you are and what you're coming to do. Dating out here, I wouldn't recommend. Not saying you can't find your husband, not saying there's not good men or good women out here. I think there is. I just think the speed of the city makes it a little bit hard for people to make decisions, and how much attractive men there is and how much beautiful women there is like you really got to be in that stage. And I would say even people in their early 30s is not at the stage that they're ready to settle down. Again, not saying no one is not settling down. I'm just saying dating can be a lot more challenging. So I also wouldn't come with the mindset like, oh, my husband here. He most certainly can be, but that's all I'm going to say with that. So be clear about your intentions about what you're coming to do and set some boundaries, okay? Now, how do you mentally set those boundaries? Is, like I said, planning and fully expecting to have fun, but also to move from partying, nightlife, whatever it is that you do to get into what you came here for, which is probably to discover yourself, have some more freedom, be around like-minded people, just be who you intended to be without the people who were raised around you. I would say join as much clubs, like the Run Club, join communities. If you go to church, find a church. There's a lot of churches here. I don't know, I would say anything about that. Find a church, get back in school, if that's the case, like the community college here is very affordable, or find something that you can start up if you didn't already have a business, or something that you want to do if you don't already have a career, and do that. If it's just a trade skill, do a trade skill, but definitely come here with some goals, because there is a lot of opportunities out here, and as big as Houston is, it's also really small. So once you start making connections, you're gonna start knowing everybody, and then it'll be easy, whatever it is that you're planning to do, for it to take off. I would say for me, I kind of left midway and I kind of like severed my ties, but I'm back on that journey. What else? So yeah, like mentally, just be sure that you are honest with yourself and working with yourself. Now, this isolation period is gonna get really lonely real quick. You're gonna be having a ball, and then one day you're gonna wake up, you're gonna miss your friends, you're gonna miss your family, and you're gonna miss that toxic environment that you left, or that toxic man or toxic woman. You're gonna miss them. You're gonna try to connect with them, but you're gonna start changing, and you're not gonna connect that well. And then you'll remember after talking to them for a while why you left. So be fully prepared for that. But again,
That's why I say get a community, because once you're by yourself, you're gonna have to face a lot of things, and that's something I'm learning right now. And I've been here for a while. There's a lot of lessons that I've also been repeating because I didn't get it the first time, and now I'm like viewing myself, I'm seeing myself, and I'm like, okay, this is something you need to work on. And yeah, it's painful. It's like holding a mirror to your face and all you can see is the ugly. But it's definitely good because it's making me work on myself, and it's making me into the woman that I've always prayed to be. I'm always like, God, I don't want to just be approved by man. I want to be approved by you and and I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm really far from it, but I'm definitely doing the work. So I really want to be a great mother, and I really want to be a good wife. Great mother, a good wife. So I love that God is showing that about me, but it's going to be a hard season. And if you don't just prepare for it, that it's going to hit, and have like a contingency kit for when things like that happen, like maybe going to the park or whatever. Just don't come with nothing. I hear people say, I packed up everything and I just came with whatever could fit in my car. Some people, again, if you call, like God told me to go do that, please don't put my word has no weight to God's. But if you can, just kind of prepare and have a rough layout, like I said, how long you want to be not doing anything really, and what's the goal when you come here. Because all that can change. You might meet somebody, your idea change. You might 2 months have ended and you still feel like I'm really not ready to jump back into the world. It's a fun place to be. And so if you want to have fun a little longer, but have kind of a rough plan. And that's what I would recommend for these young ladies. So let's leave what else. What I've learned being in this city. I have learned, for one, you have to be ambitious. If you want to make changes, you're going to have to dive your ego and be ambitious, meaning you're going to have to talk to people, you're going to have to put yourself out there, because there's a lot of people, there's a lot of great people. That's the thing, there's a lot of amazing Black people out here. There's a lot of amazing, and I'm mainly talking to Black women. There's just a lot of amazing Black people out here. So you're amazing, but you're like one in the bunch if you're not putting yourself out there. You're definitely gonna have to put yourself out there. I learned to honestly take everything a man said with your light grain. And I know that's every city or everywhere, but more so here, because Houston's so big, people could date like 3-4 different people and y'all never run into each other. So I've learned that. I was a little naive before, if I'm a good girl, then they're gonna be butter. So I would say those are like probably the 2 main things that I've learned. Midway of me living here, I did become a flight attendant, so I kind of left and lived in Denver for a good while because I was based there, and now I'm back again. So it's almost like I'm restarting, because clubs and restaurants, they pop up and they pop down really quick. I do work in the nightlife now as I'm taking a sabbatical from flying, and that is a whole nother YouTube video, but it's cool, and then I run my business. So that's what I do, and I'm back in school getting another bachelor's for software engineering. So I'm in both of it. I'm like serious, but I'm also like exploring. I'm really discovering myself. I'm really lucrative with myself. Like I really kind of like, I have goals, but I really let those goals unfold however they may unfold. So there's that. Now, I don't want to make this video too long, but last but not least is like, do I see myself here long term? If you are someone who likes fast speed and like having something to do all the time, you don't really see yourself having a family, you can most definitely have a family out here. But for me, I don't think I would want to raise a family here. I think there's a lot of businesses and a lot of things, and particularly like this main hub of Houston. I think if I did want to have a child, I would still move outside of the city if I wanted to settle down. But ultimately, I don't believe this is my last stop. I think that I do have a few more years here because I've been traveling so much through flying, and then the last 5 years of my life has been really like up, down in the context of living situations. So I do think I have a couple more years because I would love to be grounded somewhere. But I don't think this would be my last stop. I love DC, I love Dallas. Those are like the two places that I think I would go, but I'm not ready to do a major move and learn a new city and find a new hairstylist and a new nail tech. Like I'm not ready for that right now, and I just want some stability. So that is my opinion, but maybe another 3-4 years here, maybe I'll graduate college and then wherever I get an amazing job, I'm gonna go. So I hope you guys found this video useful. If you're someone who has more questions, drop them below. I'll make another video about being a flight attendant. I'll make another video about the nightlife. And you tell me what else you guys want. Remember, this is a 30-day challenge, so I'm gonna have 30-day videos in the next 30 days of just me talking about life and business, because that's my main thing. And just comment below what you think. All right, see y'all later. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.